Hello and welcome! Today we're going to be building natural looking waterfalls, and I wanted to walk you guys through the process before I actually show you the big build that I did. So, I just thought I would do a section and explain each part of the process in each layer. So, we start with the bottom layer, and that's usually like a lake or a river. I'm just going to do a little pond. You have to decide where you want your waterfalls to go, so you could put it into your lake if it looks natural, or you can go into a pond. Okay, starting off, we can go with this for a mini pond, and since this is a really small waterfall that I'm doing, so we're just gonna go with this for a little bit. So when you're making your cliffs, you kind of want to start with a flat surface that goes to your lake. You want your waterfalls to go to your lake, and then you could carve out from there. You do need some space in the back too, because if you're planning to make a third layer, keep in mind that you can only make a cliff one block after the cliff ends. So you could only make, so for example, if I go up and try to make a second layer, notice that you cannot make a cliff right here because it is just too close to the edge, but I can make a cliff right here because it's one block away from everything. So as you can see, we have a little waterfall over there. It's looking natural because of this pond we added. It's not exactly straight. You never want to make something straight if you're trying to make it look natural. Like this does not look natural at all. It doesn't have any curves. It's just a straight river, but that's how I designed it at first. So if you want to make it look natural, you always want to put some depth into your rivers and also your cliffs. So as you can see, my cliff is looking really blocky, but if I were to take out this and add some depth to the cliff and add another just make this one block back, as you can see, it's looking a little nicer. And then what you can do is make a one-way waterfall over here. And then after you do that, you can extend the lake or the pond that we made, rather, back one more block. And this is a really neat trick. It's just one block back, and yeah, it's looking good. That's just one of the basic things about making natural looking waterfalls is depth and variation. So we have a 2 wide one over there, and we have a 1 wide one over here. And you could connect these up top to make a lake. Okay, I wanted to take you guys on a quick time lapse of me building the lake and waterfall area. And I did this on a live stream, which is why it's really sped up. It's like a 5-hour live stream with, we did cataloging at the same time, which is why there's another game running at the bottom right. Please ignore that for now. The main thing I want to take away from this time lapse is, as you can see, I just lay a bunch of land and cut out a bunch of water. I don't worry about the shape at first. I just kind of build, that's what you got to do. You just got to lay a bunch of land and water out. And then you can start carving into it. As you can see here, I start carving into it to make it look more natural. The key to making natural cliffs is a lot of variation with the levels that you do, the transitions. And I get rid of everything a lot, I guess, in this. Yep, as you can see here, I'm getting rid of the waterfall again. So I constantly go back to the walkway to see if the waterfall is viewable. And then I just adjust if it's not. I move it one block closer if it's not, one block farther away if it's too close. And I found that 12 blocks away is usually the viewing distance for the third layer to be viewable. So I have my third layer of waterfall at the 12th block away from where I want it to be viewable. So I really wanted to make my design tropical, so I incorporated palm trees. I'll teach you how to do that later in the video, but basically you just need one patch of sand down, and then you can plant the palm tree wherever you want. And I'm making mini islands in the lake. These are just small pieces of land. I will show you how to make the mini islands too, and the design process that I went through to make the mini islands that I have on my waterfall design. So I think when you're first starting out, you should put all of the cliff space down that you need and all of the water space down that you need, and not worry too much about the shape or the decoration, because all of that will come after you start chiseling into your one solid block of land And you could always decorate the cliffside with some flowers and bushes to make it look really nice. And you don't have to worry about the shape too much when you're starting out. But yeah, we're going to take a look at my waterfall section now. So let's go take a look at the finished product and I will explain everything about how I built it. So if we come over here, we could see my actual waterfall area that I spent a lot of time on. It took 5 hours to make this, I think, of just random terraforming. But I'm really happy with how it came out. So you can see I implemented the idea that I showed you in the beginning in this waterfall over here. I have a 1 wide waterfall in front, and then in the back I have a 2 wide waterfall. And that gives it just a little more depth to make it a little more nicer, in my opinion. You don't necessarily have to do... Also, I tried to put dents in the river with the terraforming tool every so often, just to make it look a little more natural. As you can see, here's a 1 wide. You could play with it a lot. You don't have to make a giant pond. You could always just do a 1 wide and it looks pretty good. So really quick, I want to explain the philosophy that I implemented from the 3rd layer down. So we're just going to go all the way up to the 3rd layer of the waterfalls. And let me just jump over here. As you can see, there's a giant lake up at the top. And this is because I wanted to have the waterfalls go down from a big source of water, because that's how it would work in real life. You would have a big source of water at the top. I also changed how wide the waterfalls are at each section in the cliff, which is really important to have some variation. But as you can see, the waterfalls go from wide to not so wide at the bottom. And that is because the waterfalls are coming from a big source of water at the top, so they should have wider waterfalls in real life. So that's what I kind of implemented in Animal Crossing. I kind of tried to mimic real life. And I want to talk about that area over there with the 1 wide waterfall really quick. So if we go down here, we can see that there is a 1 wide path separating 2 islands. So just to show you guys an example of what I mean by the 1 wide island separation thing, I'm going to make a small mini version of it really quick over here, and you're gonna see what it looks like and the process that I went through to make it. Yeah, sure, that works for now. So just a little example. Obviously, it can't be that big because of this small lake. But now on this mini island, I think we can even hop to it. No. It's too far to hop to. We're just going to hop over here really quick. So on this mini island, you could definitely decorate it with some bushes. I like to put some bushes on the cliffside. And then also, you could mix in some flowers every so often too. Put a flower over here. You could keep a color scheme, or you could put random flowers. It doesn't really matter. I only have these flowers in my inventory right now, so that's what's going there. And then look, it looks pretty good. So some tips and tricks not to do with waterfalls is you can see here, this waterfall has no source of water feeding the waterfall. I mean, it still looks okay, but it just looks weird, right? Just coming from nothing. That is not really a good thing to do if you're looking to make natural waterfalls, but it still works. It's a game. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's why I just left that there for now, because I don't want to connect it to any of these lakes. As you can see, I also put palm trees here, and I put them in alternation from each other so you could see them more as you look up, so they're not all blocking each other's view. They're 1 block off from each other going up, alternating. And that's because I still wanted it to be in view, but I didn't want it to block each other, so... And you may notice, how do I plant palm trees on grass? Well, you cannot. If I take out my sand path tool right now, I'll show you. So if I put a sand path down, I'm able to put palm trees just anywhere I want to, basically. And it looks like it's not even planted on grass, The palm tree is kind of hiding the sand path. So as you're building your waterfalls, you constantly want to go back to your lookout area and see if you could actually see the 3rd layer from here. And if you can, that's great. If you're going for that look. The third layer from this location that I'm standing at right now is 12 blocks away. So that's about the distance that I could see. That's not including this block right here, the fence block. So right behind the fence, 12 blocks away, and it looks pretty nice. You could go any distance you want though, but as you go further and further, it will become less visible from where you want it to be. So just keep that in mind as you're building your waterfall islands. And also, waterfall making isn't an exact science, you know, there's no right way to do it. This game makes it very easy for you to make pretty things, and you should always just be proud of what you do. Even if you're not totally happy with it, eventually you will be if you just keep trying. So that's what I did. I tore this down and remade this a million times. Well, not a million, until I thought it was okay for me to show on the YouTube. So let me know what you guys thought about the video below in the comments. I will definitely read them and gauge if you guys like this type of stuff or not. And subscribe for more. And like the video if you liked it. And I will see you in the next one.